Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's class. And tonight we're studying Parashat Chaye, and we're going to learn the holy words of Rav Shimshon David Pincus, and he's going to share with us, I think, a concept that we will all appreciate clarity on, and maybe change the way we look ourselves in the mirror next time we look in the mirror. So, in this week's Torah portion, we read about two deaths. The first, right at the beginning of this week's Torah portion, the passing of our first matriarch, Sarai Menu, who passed away at the ripe age of 127. Then, 38 years later, Avraham Avinu, our first patriarch, passes away at the ripe age of 175. The Ma'am Loez tells us that at Sarah's funeral, Avraham Avinu was fulfilling this great mitzvah of eulogizing and burying her, but many came to attend this. And not only were those who were given the opportunity and the respect to attend Sarai Menu's funeral, but they also were given the opportunity to attend Avraham's funeral as well. Primarily Shem and Ever and all the noble kings, these great people were also able to be present at the burial of Sarai Menu as well as Avraham Avinu. Now, we also read of the eulogy in this week's Torah portion, a unique one that not just the one that Avraham gives for Sarah, but this is the first and only time the Torah, meaning God, eulogizes a person. And that is Avraham Avinu. God eulogizes Avraham Avinu. I want to show you what Avraham Avinu, what is said about Avraham Avinu by Kadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem says, chapter 25 in Genesis, verse 8, Vayigva vayamot Avraham b'siva tova zaken v'savea. Vayasef elamav. Avraham expired and died in a good old age and satisfied, and he was gathered to his people. The Torah says, zaken v'savea, old and satisfied. That's not a general or normal way to say that someone passed away. And therefore, our sages teach us that what's happening here is God is really eulogizing Avraham. Now, the truth is 35 years earlier, when Avraham was 140 years old, he goes out and he commands his faithful servant Eliezer to go seek a wife for his son Isaac. The Torah tells us that Avraham was zaken ba bayamim. Abraham was old and in advanced age. And the Midrash on this tells us that Avraham, what does it mean that Avraham was old now? Avraham Avinu asked Hashem to age. The Midrash tells us that Abraham tells God, I want to ask you something, God. I have an issue. Every single place I go, along with my son Isaac, people don't know who's who. People don't know who to honor more. People don't know who to respect more. People don't know who to approach or to greet first. Hashem, can you please make the father look older? Hashem says, great idea. I'll start with you. And so it was. Avraham Avinu aged then. Rav Pincus says an amazing thing. He says, God caused Avraham to age immediately at that point, as he requested. But he didn't only look old, he really even felt old. He was old. And for that reason, I always had this question. I don't know if you ever had this question. I always had the question. I was always bothered with it. And when I saw it from a Pincus, it hit a light. Why is it in this week's Torah portion that Abraham sends Eliezer to go choose a wife for his son? I mean, let's face it. Isn't this like the most important thing in his life after the 10 tests of faith. He passed them. What's the next most important thing that Abraham should care about? Who's his son going to marry? Because based on who his son's going to marry is who his grandchildren are going to be. So why is it that he didn't go and find this girl himself? Explains Rav Pincus. Avraham Avinu requested to age. He aged. He really was old. He felt old. He didn't have the physical capability of traveling and going and finding himself a wife for his son. So that's why he sent Eliezer. It's a great chap. It's a great novelty. Now Rav Pincus says, I need to understand this. Avraham Avinu was the first man, the first human being to look old. It seems a little petty. It seems like all Abraham cared about was looking old for identification purposes, so that when he walks into somewhere, people know who he was opposed to his son. But the Midrash continues and gets deeper. The Midrash tells us that Avraham wanted to age because he wanted to beautify himself. To him, aging was a crown of beauty. A white beard, white hair, wrinkly skin was beautiful. So Rabbi Pincus goes on to understand and dissect, well, nowadays we can't even fathom such a concept. Imagine you go over to one of your friends and you say, oh, you look so old, you look so beautiful. I think that'd be considered an insult. People nowadays spend thousands and tens of thousands, and some can spend even hundreds of thousands of dollars on their body so they could look younger. But you know what Abraham wanted? He wanted to look old. Not only did he want to look old, it's because of him we age. Human beings never aged until that time. Why? Pincus wants to know, why would Avraham want to age? Why would he want to look old? So he gives two different explanations. The way he puts it is a simple one and a deeper one. I think they are both brilliant, and either one works. So take a look. Number one, he says there are three aspects to a person's life. This concept is works for the first answer as well as the second answer. There's three aspects of a person's life. There's the past, the present, and everyone knows the future. Very good. When a person looks at their past and contemplates, what have I achieved? What have I built in my life? What have I done? Normally, the answer is not much. Okay, yes, no, plus, minus, a little, but as a human being, as a person, as a Jew, what have we really accomplished? When it comes to the present, we think to ourselves, well, it's just one moment. What can I possibly do? It's just one moment. And the future, we look at, wow, a big and bright, amazing future. So if we look at the past, present, and the future, what do we value most? I guess it's our future. It's what we're able to choose and decide for big plans. Dreams of becoming successful, wise, things that we'll have. So according to this view, the past and the present are primarily, or actually, worthless. And the future is full of roses, full of amazing things. According to this outlook, Reb Pincus says, an old man, an old woman, has a long and useless past and a short future that's not worth much. Because how much longer is an old person going to live? 2, 5, 10 years maximum. Someone who's very old and they look old, they're like 1 foot out the door already. So calling someone old with this outlook is an insult. However, in the past, the outlook was completely opposite. The future was something which was worthless, because at the end of the day, a person has no idea what tomorrow will bring, what lies in the future for him or her. One could never depend or rely on what the future brings in any way. Health, family, business. In contrast to the past is the most important according to this. Because what a person's accomplished in their life is the only thing they have. It's the only thing they've done. A person who has learned a lot, a person who's fulfilled a lot, a person who's devoted themselves and sacrificed themselves for something greater than them is a real person. In yesteryear, the most respected and honorable people were always the old and the aged. Because someone who's old has a grand past and, yes, a limited future. Abraham asked that his past would be more apparent, or Pincus says, that he'd have the proper respect given to him as being an elderly person that's wise and accomplished. But not just for him, for anyone and everyone. That a person's past should be visible on them. The Torah writes that Avraham and Sarah passed away in a very particular way. Take a look at your screen. It says that that Sarah Imenu passed away. This is chapter 23, verse 1. That the life of Sarah was 100 years and 20 years and 7 years. These were the years of the life of Sarah. Very repetitive. Same thing by Avraham Avinu. Look at this, the end of this week's Torah portion, chapter 25, verse 7. 100 years and 70 years and 5 years. I mean, normally if I ask you how old you are, you'll tell me I'm 175 years old. Not 100 years and 70 years and 5 years. Comes our commentaries. Our sages tell us the reason why both for Avraham and Sarah was written this way is because they lived complete years. Every single day they lived. It was a meaningful life. What does a meaningful life mean? Pincus wants to know. He says that when every moment of your life is growth and connection to Hashem, that's living. Most people, when they hit 80 or 90 years old, they could barely recount moments of life, real life of growth and connection. The Torah says Avraham and Sarah lived full lives because not a moment in their lives was wasted of not growing or being connected to Hashem. So this is the first outlook. Why did Avraham Avinu want to look old? Why did he want to age? It was in order to identify one's past, their great deeds and actions and accomplishments, so it would be known to others, honored and respected for that. Now another explanation, where Pincus says. Everyone's past, even Abraham Avinu's, is not the greatest point of a person's life. Because we can't live in the past. It's one's present greatness that means the most. But a person's present is not just evaluated on right now, rather it's determined on the past. You see the difference, the nuance? Again, a person's present is determined on their past deeds. Is it possible that a great person from the past may no longer do great things? 100%. They could turn rotten and go the wrong way. The future, as we previously said, is not in our control. But one thing and one thing only is in a person's control. It's right now, the moment. What are you going to do this second? Are you going to be honest or not? Are you going to steal or not? Are you going to lie or not? Are you going to do something good? Are you going to give or are you going to take? Every moment, every present moment is the most important. It's the deciding thing. Planning for the future is wonderful, but no one knows what Hashem has in store. Living in the past becomes a sickness very quickly. Now let's imagine Avraham Avinu on his 175th birthday, waking up and assuming he knows he's going to pass on that day. I mean, there were many great righteous people that knew the day of their passing. Let's assume Avraham Avinu knew the day that he was passing. He passed away on his birthday. Most of our tzaddikim passed away on the exact same day they were born to show that they lived complete and full lives. According to that, we have to say Avraham Avinu knew he was passing away. He gets up and it's time for him to pray Shaharit. Do you think he got up and said, I don't need to pray today. I've been praying for 175 years. No need. Who cares? I've done it so many times. On the contrary, Rabbi Pincus says, he gets up on that day and he says, I'm going to use today as an amazing opportunity to do this good deed, to connect to Hashem for the very last time on this world. As the old man that he was doing the exact same thing he's been doing for years, but he was doing it with all those past growth and experiences. He's fulfilling it today. You see, when an older person does something, they're doing something with a tremendous amount of experience behind them. And that means you cannot compare their deed to someone who's inexperienced. See, when Avraham Avinu was praying, he was saying the exact same words, let's say, as a 25-year-old or even a 75-year-old. But when he stood in front of Hashem, his words meant so much more. Not that it meant more to Hashem, it just was so much more powerful because he had 175 years, not just of experience, of good experience. Imagine a doctor who's been practicing for 40 years. He has experience. You want to know, does he have good experience or bad experience? How many mistakes has he done in his experience? And again, doctors are human. Were those mistakes decades ago or are they recent? What's their experience? What's their track record? Avraham Avinu came today in the present with good, solid growth and experience from the past. Every action that was done in his lifetime was a great investment into this greatness. His present deed was full of life and good experience. This is why Rav Pincus says old in yesteryear was a great compliment. And it should be as well today. It should be that something that we honor, respect, and revere. You see, in life, we're not allowed to live in the past. It's a foolish thing to live in the past as well as in the future. All we can decide is now. We must understand that our past forms us and equips us to be the best in the present. This is what Avraham Avinu was asking from Hashem. He was asking, as long as people age, their experience will be visible and looked up to by those who surround him or her, so they could learn and aspire to be great as well. If not, you're not going to know how much experience this person has. Now, do they have good experience or bad experience? That's another story. But normally, a person who's aged, you can see in them their righteousness, their good experience, their deeds. So now we can understand why it was such a great compliment, and it should be a great compliment today. Either because in the past, either the two explanations, either because a person has a great past with so much accomplishments, or the deeper answer is because every single deed or action that a person does today in the present is backed by a full array of good experience. So to this, I would like to share as my own little tidbit. Next time we look in the mirror, we see some wrinkles, some white hair, some balding. Next time you start feeling your joints or your back aching, remember that aging is supposed to be a badge of honor and also a reminder that we will not live forever. Aging is also there, as our sages tell us, to remind us that our time is limited. We need to use it wisely, act our very best every day. Next time we see someone old and aged, instead of maybe disrespecting them or thinking that, what do they know? Maybe consider, or you see someone old, don't start feeling bad for them. No, maybe consider that we have to honor and admire them for what they've fulfilled and accomplished in their lifetime. This is what Avraham Avinu wanted us to know. This is what Avraham Avinu intended by requesting for Hashem to make him age. This is an entire different outlook. Again, today, in the 21st century, all anyone cares about is how can we look the youngest? Botox and all these different rolls on faces and pulling skin. I don't even know all these things. I don't even understand them. But anything we could do to look youngest. God forbid, we're not allowed to disregard our body. We're not allowed to take advantage of it and destroy it. But to look younger, that's a different story. To look younger is taken away from our beauty. The warped world that we live in tells us beauty is young, beauty is wrinkleless. That's not true. That's what we were trained. That's what we were raised to look at something beautiful. I'll give you an example. Today, beauty is thin and skinny. Do you know that 100 years ago and any time before that, thin and skinny was the poor, the impoverished, those who could not afford food? Today, being skinny and thin and muscular shows that you have the means and the time to work out and to eat well. Now, I'm not saying that we should all be overweight and disregard ourselves. No, we need to eat well, we need to work out, we need to stay healthy because today we understand that's healthy. Back in the day, they didn't understand that. They understood as healthy of being plump and feeding oneself. So just as outlook of beauty changes with time in history, so too aging has changed in the eyes of beauty, in the eyes of humanity. Today we look at a person who's younger as they're more fit for the position, they're better to look at, they're able to capture better, to do better, whatever it is. Wrong. Aging is a sign of experience. Now, it could be a sign of bad experience, but it could be a sign of good experience. Aging is there as a mechanism for us to use to our advantage and to let our experience radiate off of us, be like a beautiful beam of genuinity, of love, of care, of literally a past full of good experience. So may us understand that aging is a fact of life. Aging is something that our patriarch Avraham Avinu, who was the Av HaChesed, he was the patriarch of love and kindness, loving kindness. It's him who got us stuck with aging. Maybe we have to think that it's not a curse, it's a blessing. Let's use that blessing to our advantage.